Welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror movie and they discuss it. Today we are talking about the brand new Hocus Pocus 2, which is now streaming on Disney Plus and was directed by somebody who I didn't look up. Let's see really quick. Hocus Pocus 2 was directed by Anne Fletcher. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Erik, and with us again for the second time, because she helped us with Hocus Pocus, or was a guest on Hocus Pocus, the original, Hocus Pocus. I know I made that joke the first time. I always call you Hocus Pocus. But Hope, welcome to the show.
Bow, 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 bow.
That was a terrible introduction by me.
It's okay. It felt right, so glad to be here.
And I was like, Erik, when did you turn into Joe Biden for a second?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. That's bad. Yeah.
Pocus the Hope's here.
That's my day right now.
Well, yeah, Hope, welcome back. Yeah, you were a guest
Thank
2
you.
years ago for the original Hocus Pocus, which has forever been your favorite. Is it your favorite movie of all time, or is it your favorite, like, horror movie?
I don't know if I could subscribe to either.
Oh.
Yeah, it was my favorite movie for a very long time in my adulthood. I'm like, oh, that's a little embarrassing. I've expanded my repertoire, but yes, it is up there with my all-time favorite movies. Favorite horror movie? Could you classify it as horror? That's my question.
I would.
It's a little spooky. Okay, cool. Yes, favorite horror movie. Then absolutely.
There's a zombie.
Yeah, witches, zombies.
Accurate. Yeah, there's death, there's hangings, there's talks about virgins. So
Right.
yeah, fair.
So when we did the original Hocus Pocus, like literally 2 years ago, I don't think that they had even announced this movie was coming out.
There was speculation.
Right. And that speculation turned into proof. And I think I remember this, Hope, like a year ago, you sent Erik and I screenshots or whatever that you had gotten from them filming because you live in Newport.
Yes, in the grand twist of the universe, they filmed right down the street from me, which was just absolutely triggering because I freaked out, like fangirled, have never done that, like walked around sets all the time and living in New York, but going to the Hocus Pocus set just blew my mind. They completely changed this entire square downtown in Newport to that festival fair that they have, filming in like the entire movie, and then they also recreated the Sanderson sister house.
Epic. And it was Rhode Island. It wasn't Massachusetts, like Salem.
Yeah, they did the fair, and the Sanderson sister exterior of the house was here in Newport, and then they did the scene that happens at the beginning of the movie where they film in the flashback with explaining the story of the sisters.
Was that Kill James Patrick's like land or house or whatever?
That I don't know.
I read something where Alec, do you know who Kill James Patrick is?
No.
So he's like he started with like making like wristbands, I think, and he's big into fashion. And this guy is like really into fall in Hocus Pocus. But I'm pretty sure, Hope, I might have to look this up, that they filmed on his land. He has like all this land in Rhode Island, which is kind of cool. He has a whole like fall line of clothes and like a Hocus Pocus line of clothes as well. But that's so cool. And Hope, what month was this last year when it was filming? Was it November? Do you remember?
I think it was It was around October, November.
Okay.
It was right around the time that the season here was wrapping up. So it was like a weird shutdown that they did on the city around these certain parts for various pieces. But I do have a very vivid memory of sitting at this Mexican restaurant watching all of the Sanderson sister contestants for the look-alike scene in the movie just like walk down the street.
No shit. That's so cool.
I still to this day I'm just kind of like,
so you're a part of it. I witnessed this being made. That's kind of cool.
I am a major contributor to the creation of this movie. Exactly. Yes.
You brought the vibes. You brought the good times. Like, you were there.
No, but you're like Gilbert. You're like watching from afar. You're like a part of it, like.
Oh, yeah. Lost all cool.
That's very cool, yeah.
Well, last thing I want to bring up before we get into the film, we just said we recorded, was it last year or 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago, yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I was thinking, was it last year? Never mind, ignore me.
It was 2 years ago because there were rumors that they were going to recreate it, and I think we kind of did like a temperature check on how we felt about that. And I was like, like we all know that sequels are not
Yeah.
going to ever live up to the movie that you love the
Right.
most. But I'm curious to see what they do with it. Like, I love that they're bringing it back.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, what did you guys?
Who wants to go? Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first?
I think Hope should go first.
Yes, Hope. Lead it off. What were your overall thoughts?
I'm still digesting. It's been less than 24 hours since I've been able to watch the full movie. I will say that I feel like if they didn't film right down the street from me, I'd have a completely different opinion. I do think that changed my love for the movie because I just feel very connected to it even more than I was before. But I think I went into it in two different perspectives. One being, I know that you're not going to ever replace the first movie. It's just like perfect the way it is. Like, it didn't need a sequel, so the bar's low essentially. Because like, I know it's not going to be as good, but I was also hoping that it was going to be great, or not great, but at least enjoyable. And I have mixed opinions on it. I do want to watch it again, but I think they approached it like kind of not self-deprecating, but very self-aware, which I do appreciate. I think that was the nod to people that have watched it and are so in love with it from the first round. And with that, I'm pleasantly surprised. I laughed a couple times. I would do certain things differently, but overall, for Sarah and Winifred and Mary to come back 30 years later and actually do this movie, I think they did a good job.
Yeah,
because they're never going to live up to the first one. So make fun of yourselves, like have a good time doing it. That's the approach I would take, and I think that's what they did, and it was as good as it can be.
Everybody should have gone into this being like, listen, we're never going to be as good as the original one, but let's just have fun. Let's try and do it justice. But again, we're not going to Top Gun Maverick this, guys. Like, it's just not going to happen. But
exactly.
Yeah, but Eric, I don't know. What did you think? We're all huge Hocus Pocus fans.
Yeah,
but...
I think Hope probably spoke for most fans watching it. It was like, I liked it. I didn't love it. It was better than I thought, but it wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
However, I do give it credit because it was like, one, we're not doing a rinse and repeat same story. Like, we're doing a little different thing, which I'm like, I give them credit for not doing like the straight up, Star Wars, just make the same movie. They didn't. It was totally different than the original. And then one thing that just bothered me just a little bit, and I liked everything else. The Walgreens scene was amazing. There's so many scenes that made me laugh, and I'm glad they made this movie. I'm not mad that they made it. I liked it. I just wanted one actual cast member, any cast member. Jay, Ernie. I needed one original cast member. Thora Birch, Max. Aside from the witches, they didn't do anything. Yeah. They could have had like, they showed like these two guys watching the movie and at one point, and like literally watching Hocus.
That was weird.
Yeah, true. But whatever. If you made that Ernie and Jay, the movie would be, to me, 3 times better, or something. Anything. I don't know.
I think that's fair. I think that's really fair. Yeah, they did not do that legacy character thing that like every reboot or sequel is doing nowadays.
Right. Right. And one last thing I'm going to say, they did a lot in this movie. There's a lot going on, a lot of ideas. It felt like there was way too many cooks in this kitchen when coming up with the ideas for this. And I'm talking about, you got the mayor, who's kind of a descendant. You got the treasure hunt that Billy's doing with the magic shop owner. The magic shop owner, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? The black flame candle. So you light it, they're not going to die in the morning? Are they going to die in the morning? Like, what's the story with that? Is it working? The cat. Does the cat talk? I don't know. There's a cat, though. You got, what else was happening? You got the witches saying, like, we need the blood of the mayor.
The friendship.
And the friendship, like, you didn't invite me to your party. I liked the original because it was explained to us with no questions. I understood everything going on. I had no concerns. The concern of this is like, wait, what are they racing? Are they beating the sun? Do they need to suck one child's life so that they can live forever? Like, you know what I mean? There was none of that. Where was the rush? Where was the deadline?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly agree with everything both of you guys are saying. I really do. Like, I wanted the legacy characters. I actually did kind of feel like it was a little more rinse and repeat than you did, Eric. I don't know. I kind of felt like it followed very similar beats.
It was totally different. They had a flashback scenes, man. And they added another witch, which was another thing that was too much. And the Maxima Mystica thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was a whole nother like. Okay, what are we doing? Like, what's our end goal? Like, I wanted to know that.
She was gonna come back, the Mother Witch. I thought she was gonna be like at the end, be like, "I'm the real bad guy."
They had good ideas there, but it didn't drive it home with the coven and how.
Yeah.
And how she said at the beginning, like, I lost my coven. And she definitely did this spell. They didn't say that to us, really. They didn't, like, drive that home. But I think that's what happened to her coven.
Yeah.
And Winifred did the same thing that witch did. Another thing, Hope, and I'm sure you're, like, a little like, I thought they got this book from Satan. Like, what's this witch thing, right? Do you ever think that?
Didn't even get to that thought because the way they portrayed Book in this movie, having its own thoughts, feelings, personality, was
whole nother level.
Yeah, like it created a whole new character that didn't really exist before. Like before, it was a little bit of a pet, and then in this movie, it had its own agenda.
Like sweating, crying, hiding himself.
The tears.
Yeah. Goes to my point. There's too much going on. Like,
yeah, the tears of like absolute rejecting of Winifred's intention, saying like, no, we're not going to do this. Like abandoning them to go ally with the other young witches. It was just introducing a new character without any context, and I don't think introducing the mother character explained the existence of the book or the creation of the coven.
Right.
Because they're so devoted to her, but she had this like 30-second appearance,
right,
or 3-minute appearance, and it just didn't feel like it explained enough to be as devoted where they're doing a calming circle.
Yeah,
talking about Mother's mummy pie.
Yeah, Mother. They didn't really go into that, but I mean, again, like the book having a personality, that's just again too much going on, and these 16-year-old girls becoming witches is like, okay, they're witches now. Like what? Like too much shit going on.
Yeah,
too much shit. But it flowed. It flowed, which I got to give it credit. Totally new. Didn't hate it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, like, it's not terrible, but I wanted to ask you guys, like, who is this movie for? Because is it for us, or is it for like if we had like a 6 or 7-year-old right now? Like who is this movie?
It's for that. It's for if we have a 6 or 7-year-old, I think.
Okay, so it's basically for people our age that have like 6-year-olds right now, roughly. Right?
I'd say like even a little older than us that have like 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it is for us. I think it is a nod to the adults. It's a nod to you, Eric, because you have a daughter now.
Yeah, she's
gonna grow in, and eventually she'll, in like 8 years, be able to watch this show or this movie and understand everything. But there were so many jokes woven in throughout the movie that were in reference to the unanswered questions, or like the why you're talking about virgins so much in a child's movie. There was like a lot of different winks throughout it that I think were a nod to, we understand that this is a cult classic and we're recreating it 30 years later. Here's to all of you who stood by us for 30 years and made this happen.
Agree.
Okay. To that point, though, I want to say, if that was the intention, I want the legacy characters then.
Yeah.
Like, these new characters are fine, they're fine. But if this is for us, and this is for us to be excited about, to want to show our kids, I want to have Max. I want to be talking about Yabos. I want to be seeing Thora Birch.
I give them credit for sticking with the virgin story. I was always afraid, like, are they just not going to say virgin in this movie?
Yeah.
But they did. They did. So, kudos.
Actually, favorite part of the whole thing, because, I mean, growing up in the 90s and being in our 30s now, rewatching a movie like that and thinking, oh my god, they talked about virgins in a child movie. That's so bizarre, because just of the way we've progressed in society. But the fact that they were able to kind of wink to that even more and make fun of themselves in this movie, one of my most favorite things about this.
Yeah, love it. And
I thought that was really, really funny.
Yeah, the things that made me laugh the most, I think, were lotion and being like, oh, it's a potion or whatever. I was like,
that was the best. That was one of my favorite parts. The whole Walgreens scene when she's eating the face mask. That's what we want. That's what we want. New stuff with the witches. It was
It's a
great.
child's face. Like, that was actually fun. Honestly, I'm going to give the MVP to Kathy Najimy for this one. I thought she was the funniest.
Yeah.
Oh, carried it. Oh, and let me know when we're ready to talk about Sarah Sanderson's like redemption in character that they attempted to do with I am an outstanding sister. I am a supportive sister.
Oh, that was another thing they're doing so much. There's like a break between them because they all have power. Like I was like, okay, they're doing way too much at once. But back to Kathy and Jimmy when she does the Roomba thing. I know, Alec, you probably hated the Roombas.
I hated the Roomba. I will tell you right now, I hated it.
I did like the line where she's like, the guys think they have a mind of their own, and they do. Like, I thought that was kind of funny.
I liked the Swiffer because I thought that was a nod to the original with the vacuum. But yeah, the Roombas.
It ties in because it came in and saved them from the salt circle. So it's like, that clever. I gotta give them kudos. That was good. I didn't hate it.
I didn't like how she said cowabunga. I was like, okay. Like, you wouldn't know what that means, Kathy Najimy. But I really liked it when they were all kind of like, I think they were whispering or whatever, and she just pokes her head up and like barks or whatever. I was like, hey, she still got it, man. She still got it.
Yeah, she grew as a character too. She drove that home for sure. So, Hope, you want to get into Sarah? Do you want to do that now?
I don't know, because I also agree with you about Mary. She's having her moment. I think everyone has agreed that she's one of the best characters of the movie. She's hilarious. Every time you watch the movie, you hear something new that she says, and it's hysterical. So I like that was carried into this one.
Yeah. But yeah, talk about Sarah. Let's unpack all that. Big change at the end for her.
Yeah, I don't understand like what kind of reconciliation they're trying to do with the trauma she's received as Winifred as her older sister. As an older sister, feeling a little guilty, I get it.
Did she say the line like, I am a person and I deserve respect or something? Like, it was like that, right? Did anyone?
I'm a loyal, faithful sister. I've done well. And then all of a sudden, Winifred says something and she's like, oh yeah, gonna go like that. Like, just whips right back into spot.
Within like 4 seconds, they're all dead. It's like, what's going on? Like,
that was it. I'm not even gonna approach the ending until you guys are ready to talk about it. Okay. That is the only thing that I have a strong opinion on. I just feel like...
Ooh, strong opinions.
No, let's go into it.
Yeah. Hope, unpack it.
Yeah,
like,
go for it.
Tell us about the ending right now. What are your thoughts? Did you hate the ending?
You know, in the first movie, Winifred and her sisters were the villains. That never changed. They were always the villains. They were eradicated in a way that was victorious for the main characters. And then in this round, all of a sudden it went from them being the villains to the main characters being completely empathetic to their story and understanding like why they are the villains and wanting to help them find peace, which I do like. I understand the relevance, but I do think that it just kind of tied the entire storyline into a bow that didn't really make sense. All of a sudden, Winifred was like grateful for being returned to her sisters. Her sisters just disappeared out of nowhere. It was a lot of chaos that it just felt immediate and like a way to end the storyline without any additional context needed.
You're right.
I don't know. It just felt like a cop-out.
I'm trying to, because
sisters, and now they're good.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'm with you.
I agree with you. No, I'm laughing because you're right. Like they're
the villains, and we love the Sanderson sisters as villains. But now they're like, we're good people, and we're so happy there's other witches now, and I'm so happy you have the book, and I'm dying, and I'm gonna be with my sisters.
Thank you for returning me to them.
I got that. Also, Billy was the same thing. He's like, I'm dead there too. Like, for real, like, my body's gone now. Like,
Billy, do we talk about the fact that he has a British accent all of a sudden, but only when his head is cut off and he's a zombie, not when he's a flashback in 1667. Right. Like, he doesn't have a British accent.
Go to hell. That was more it.
He sounded like he was like from Brooklyn or something in the original one, right? He's like, come on over. He's like, that's not my girlfriend. Like, he sounded like that, right?
Yeah.
He's like Australian now. I don't even think he was British. He was like legitimately Australian.
I mean, I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember that thick of an accent.
No, he also didn't talk as much.
Go to hell, you firefly. Da, da, da. Like, he was more like, not as British, for sure.
He had a British accent in this movie only as a zombie. Yeah. In no other scene. Not as a human being in a flashback, not in the previous movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't understand why.
That was definitely strange. I guess the thing is, just back to the ending really quick, is like there's no way for them to really do a proper sequel now, because if the villains are now good guys, I mean, what happens now?
Did you guys obviously stay for the end credit scene?
Yeah, and like, dude, that's where you bring in Thackeray Binks or something, or some legacy character, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, and well, they showed there's another candle that I guess the magic guy made, and what's it made from, Hope? You might remember the fat of a hangman or something?
Yep.
So this magic shop owner somehow found someone who was hanged.
No, a hangman.
Is that?
Wait, is it
I don't remember how to say it.
Is it someone who hangs people?
Someone who was hung, like died of being
Someone who's hung,
like the witches were in the original, and the fat of them. So this guy got the blubber out of someone who is. I mean, where do people hang people? Like Saudi Arabia? I don't even know where people hang people anymore. Like,
yeah, like how does he? Where did he get that?
Yeah, sorry, not to go there.
We're very close to social events on this one.
I think that's like totally outlawed in every which way. I don't know, but
I mean, what would you guys think if Max was the owner of the store now?
It would have made the most sense.
Right. Like, I don't not like this guy. Like, he was fine, but...
Omnicats was his name, the actor. I don't know why you refused.
Yeah. Dude,
I'm upset.
Why didn't he come back? Like, he could have done that, or even Thora Birch's character could have been that.
Well, I remember a year ago, they were straight up, like, TMZ was, like, reporting, like Omnicats was like, I didn't get a phone call. No phone call. I mean that. I'm not lying to the fans. There's nothing involvement. Like,
that doesn't fucking make sense. Like, this movie would have been better if you had those people in it.
Just Ernie or Jay, even if they become the characters, because they're also the best part of Hocus Pocus.
They truly are.
And if you bring them back, like as like ghost hunters or something, fuck yeah, I would love that.
Oh my god.
Yes, like the two men that were locked up in a cage in the house would be the two men that started a witch shop afterwards. They would absolutely mentally derail.
Thank you. And there's no way they wouldn't have done that, because they showed up to the 25th anniversary of Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. Like, there's something going on. There really must have been something going on behind the scenes.
Someone in charge was like, nope, it's brand new. Don't want to see anything but the three Sanderson sisters. Which is like, okay, it's different, it's new, but you gotta give kudos to the roots, you know?
Yeah. But we're obviously in a period of resurgence with every beloved cinematic experience over the past 10, 20 years, 30, 40 years. Like every major hit has seen a sequel in some capacity.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone has really pursued the avenue of bringing back all the characters.
Because what they're always trying to do is they're like, these are the legacy characters and we're passing the torch. Like, that's the thing. As opposed to the only reason we care about Star Wars or Indiana Jones or whatever is because of those characters. Like, it's not the title Hocus Pocus is completely flat if you don't have the characters that made us like it to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
I love Bette Midler. I love Kathy Najimy and Sarah Jessica Parker. They're awesome, but they're only a part of Hocus Pocus. They're only a part of the reason I like the movie. You remove Thackeray Binks and Allison and you know, all that stuff. That's half the movie.
Exactly.
Well, Thackeray's actually gone. Like he's moved on. So I'm okay with not having that character, but maybe there's another character that was turned into a cat in a flashback. Like they could have done that again to someone else. And there's I don't know, it could have done a skunk or something even funnier. Who knows? Yeah. That's a stupid idea, but just spitballing. But yeah, there's something missing, and it's the original characters from the 90s. Like the 90s is missing from this. Like the witches are there. They're from the 1600s. We need the 90s.
And I was trying to think of what was it about the set on the 90s, or that feeling that is captured by this movie at that time period. Is it the environment they chose? Is it the way they filmed it? Is it the sets that they build where they didn't have special effects and computer generated graphics to accommodate some of these concepts? I do think that's a part of it, because watching the eye of the book and having that be more of a realistic character within the storyline kind of detracted from, I don't know, some...
No, the other plot we're missing, and this is a friendship movie. The original was a brother-sister movie, where it got so far where it starts with a brother who doesn't want to take his sister out trick-or-treating. like hates her, annoyed by her, she's embarrassing him, to the ending where he literally sacrifices himself for his sister. There's none of that. There's just friendship fighting.
Bickering friends because one of them is like, I have a boyfriend now and I'm kind of like trying to grow up a little bit. And they're like, you're a bitch.
And that boyfriend, the one like male character is like the dumbest person ever. And it's like,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was too much.
Yeah.
That was too
Whereas
much.
like, it's like, okay, can we have like one character, a male character that's not the villain, like the magic shop owner, who apparently gets a free pass for being the villain.
Which, a whole other asterisk I want to place into place.
The one other character is like this dumb football jock who's like, he doesn't even know he's bullying people. It's like, what? Like, I don't know. It was a little bit like, oh man, like, maybe that's a part of it that like also bothered me, but I'll move on.
Like a forced life lesson.
Yeah.
Well, that bickering scene was pretty dumb. It's like, wait, you guys don't text me back. It's like, well, you're dating a guy that picks on. It's like, I pick on you. I was like, guys, I don't fucking care. Give me the witches. Like, we don't need to see about your bickering bullshit.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it was more powerful with the brother and sister too.
Yeah.
Friendship is one
Yeah.
thing. Like, it's like, oh, these 16-year-old girls, they're not going to be friends in 5 years. Sorry.
well, Hope,
Yes.
I want to just say something back to your point too about like, I don't think it was because we were young when we saw this movie that is the reason we liked the original one more. Because my mom was like 25 or 6 when the first one came out, and she loves that one. And she watched this one. She was like, it was cute, like it was fine, like, you know, better than I thought. Just like kind of everybody, I feel like. But a lot of people are going to look at us for us and be like, oh, we were kids, that's why we liked it more. It's like, no, it's just better. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
you don't need the special effects. And the one thing I will say about the 90s one and this one that were actually pretty similar was the flying scenes. I think they could have actually done a lot better job nowadays with that. And it felt like it was taken from the 90s, like those flying scenes.
I wonder like why the green screen was it was wonky, but I mean, maybe they wanted to keep it like not over the top. I don't know.
I think they were doing a nod to the original one.
Yeah, could have been.
I don't know. So my two favorite parts about this second movie is the fact that it was filmed right down the street, and the other piece is that I know I have a friend who was filming. He does lighting for Disney, so he was super involved in this crew, and so he's the one that's like up on those. I think they like hooked up everything to a bus on the front of a bus for them to fly on down the streets of Providence in Newport. And that's how they filmed it. And so he was on the lighting crew, like backing up the lighting on it. And so I do love that I know how this film was made. It makes me just so proud that my circle has grown into a place where people have actually created a sequel to one of my favorite movies. But when talking to him about filming it, he didn't mention anything about their aesthetics on like why they were doing it from that perspective. They did film them on those brooms, I think in Providence, going down the street. So I don't know. I agree with you that it was very like shockingly fake in like 90.
Well, I'm hoping it was a nod to the 90s. Now you're making it seem like they just didn't have the budget anymore.
I don't know. Like, well, they put in the effort to get people up on the brooms going through their streets in the same capacity. And I'm pretty sure in hindsight, I'm like, oh, it doesn't make sense that Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica would actually get up on there and do it. But
And I mean, they did do a good job. Like, in the original, with the floorboard scene when the witches came back and the floorboards are freaking out, they did something new where it was outside in these forbidden woods or whatever, and they opened the ground.
But then they sang right away, like they're showgirls. What was that?
I didn't hate it. Well, another thing, what do we think of the Blondie song, one way or another?
I was just about to bring that up, Erik. I was going to say, all right, this is the last negative thing I'm going to say about it. Fuck that. I love that song, but dude, that song needs to stay out of movies. That is in like a million movies, a million trailers, commercials. Like, I'm done with that song.
Like Rugrats in Paris.
Exactly.
Not to bring it back that
But dude,
far.
like, I Put a Spell on You, perfect. The chef's kiss on that movie, dude. I was not a fan of this.
What would have been a better song?
Witchy Woman by the Eagles.
It's too slow. They need to sing fast, and they found a way to get the
Evil Ways by Santana? No, that couldn't work. I don't know. I'm just thinking of any sort of like black magic woman. Huh?
Too slow.
I don't know.
Too slow.
Maybe Thriller.
Thriller would have been, dude.
They can't do a Michael Jackson song.
Yeah, honestly, it's like Thriller would have
Thriller.
been a better one.
Yeah, it would have been good, but yeah, you can't have that.
Spooky, scary skeletons. I don't know. Anyway.
What did you think of the songs, Hope?
I hated them.
Hated
Oh
them.
my
Hated
God.
the movie.
The ending.
It felt so forced. Like, because not only did they sing, they were like, "Oh, they love to sing. Did you know that?" I'm like, "How did you fucking know that?"
Yeah.
They brought in the credits when they brought him into like a recording studio.
Oh, I can't.
I know. I couldn't even look at the screen. I was like cringing for them. They're like, the witches are back. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah, you guys are talking about getting to the end credits, and I was like, "How did you make it?" I had to turn it off at that.
The witches are back. I was like, oh, this is like Bette Midler is like an actual Broadway singer. She's like, this is this is so bad. Yeah. Did you like the song, Erik?
I like the Blondie song. I didn't like the Witch is back. But I gotta say, I thought the Blondie song was a good choice. Because there's a line in that song which they didn't use in the movie. It's like, I'll fly right by your house. They didn't even have that in the scene. I was like, where is that line?
You still like it?
I thought that was a good choice. I really did. For that scene to be repurposed, but not I Put a Spell on You, I thought that's probably one of the better songs you could choose.
I just think that song has paid for like everything Deborah Harry's ever
I know.
Like,
I couldn't agree more. It's in everything, but I did think that was one of the better choices. I'll let you know if I think of another song that could work better.
I think it's such a new movie. Like we need a little more time.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. I put like the first half hour on right before we stepped on, and I was like, "Oh man, we'll have to do like a 6-month postpartum for this one."
A revisit. Well, hey, listen. Why don't we do this? I know it's brand new. I know it hasn't really digested yet. But if you guys had to give this a rating out of 10, what would you guys give it?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
I'd give it a 7. It's a clean 7.
Wow. What about you, Hope?
Yeah, I think I'm on par with the 7. I specifically because I think there was like a level of self-awareness in this filming of the movie where they're like, we know we can't continue the storyline. Let's just like kind of make fun of ourselves and own the fact that we're a cult classic now and it's weird and we're recreating this 30 years later. Solid 7.
Yeah. I'm going to go 6.5 because I'm, a curmudgeon, but whatevs. But I wanted to ask you guys this last thing, just kind of before we wrap up here. There's a big time gap between the flashback and then when the Sanderson sisters actually get killed. I want to know, could they do a Disney Plus like prequel series? Would you guys watch it if it was like the Salem stories or something like that, and it was about the sisters growing up? Would it be as interesting?
Like in the 1600s?
Yep, 1600.
Nah.
No. Okay.
I'm
all right.
I would like. I mean, if they do a Hocus Pocus 3, which they've set up, I highly doubt it'll happen. But it depends on how big the streaming ratings are, which I don't even know. But maybe they do an original cast nod, and they pivot from these cast members, do the new cast, and it's like, no, this is Hocus Pocus 2. Like everyone's just like,
oh
yeah,
my
like,
God,
it could happen. Wasn't there another movie that kind of happened with? I can't remember.
Yeah, Star Wars. I think it was like they wanted to reshoot Last Jedi because people were so pissed off.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is Hocus Pocus.
Oh, and Game of Thrones. They're like the last season. They were like
No, but
petitioning
wasn't
to
there a
reshoot
movie
it.
where it's just like they had a sequel and then another one came out, like the third, and it's like, no, this is the second one.
I don't know.
Like Indiana Jones probably is a good, like Temple of Doom was great, but people were like, no, Last Crusade is, I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but
I'm glad it's and it exists. But
yeah, I'm happy they did. it.
I'm definitely a first. Yeah, we're all Hocus Pocus OG people. But yeah, anyways, you guys got any last minute thoughts before we wrap up here?
No, I'm happy they remade it. I'm happy that they did not try to extend the storyline. They did what they did. It made me laugh. I'm sure kids enjoy it, and hopefully that it's carrying on the legacy that is the greatest Halloween movie for kids ever made.
Yeah, it's really no argument for me there. I agree. I think it's the best one for kids for sure.
Yeah. Last thought for me: if they do a third one, bring back brother sister story.
Yeah.
I want that part of it again.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, if they're gonna do a part 3 and those guys aren't in it, then just scrap it.
Or older sister, younger brother. It needs to be brother sister. You know what I mean? In general.
All right. Well, Erik, what do you say? Spin the wheel.
Ready? Spinning. Ooh. Arachnophobia.
Oh my god. That movie has haunted me since 1997. I will never forget the body dropping down in the web, mid-movie.
Yeah.
Parents let me watch it on my own in the house. They were doing yard work. Still traumatized.
Erik, you never seen it, right?
Oh, I've seen it with John Goodman.
Oh, you have seen it?
I've seen this one.
Oh, okay. I thought you hadn't seen it.
Eight-Legged Freaks I never saw. Whatever that movie is.
Oh, that's
Also,
trash.
another traumatizing movie, though. I'm just saying, there's not a theme here on my end.
That movie's crazy. Well, Hope, seriously, thank you so much for joining us for Hocus Pocus. And, come back again. We don't want to do this every other year. Come back if there's another horror movie you want to do. Just jump on anytime.
It doesn't have to be Hocus Pocus 3.
Yeah, well, Eight-Legged Freaks or Arachnophobia. Let me know.
Eight-Legged Freaks. Well, yeah, when we eventually get to that one, which we will someday, we'll bring you on for that one.
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, seriously, it's always a pleasure, Hope. And next time I'm in the Rhode Island area, I will try and get to Newport, and you can show me around. You can be like, hey, that's where they shot the thing. I'll be like, no, is there a Walgreens? Oh no, have you been to that Walgreens?
No, that's not in Newport.
Son of a bitch, lying fucks.
I know. All
right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for listening in. This is officially spooky season, so we're going to be starting our 13 Days of Halloween on October 19th. But until then, we'll be releasing an episode every Monday and Friday. And we will see you all next week with Arachnophobia. Woo!